Today, we've got something a little bit different for you on the pod. We've got a startup business. Now, we don't often work with or have startup businesses on the podcast, but I thought this one would be really interesting. It is, by very definition, a cottage industry startup kitchen table type business, only doing £1,000. But this lady, Jo, really needs some help. She really wants to know how can she take those all important first steps online when she's thinking about Google ads and her SEO and what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And I thought this would be a really interesting conversation. I really want to help Jo. And I thought in helping Jo, I might be able to help all you other startup businesses that are looking to take those first tentative steps online. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Okay, so welcome back, beautiful people. Really interesting conversation today, and really looking forward to this one because it's not every day that I get to talk to startup businesses, really small micro businesses that are really keen and curious to know, how do I take these first steps? What do I need to do? Because from our perspective, from Evergreen, we work with businesses typically about £500,000 turnover upwards. And, that's when they can afford to bring an agency in to add that expertise and really take them through the 1 million, 2 million and beyond. And that's great for those businesses that are already at that level. But what do you do if you're not at that level? How do you get those first few 100,000 in sales? How do you break that first 100,000 in sales? What do you do? Where should you start? That's what we're going to talk about today. And when Jo applied to come on the pod, we looked at her website. Now, Jo runs an eco-friendly vegan candle company. We just had a quick chat before we came on air. And she said she is making these things herself, kitchen table type business. And she's doing a little bit of Google ads. She's doing a little bit of Meta ads. She's trying a few things. She's turning about £1,000 a month in online sales, which is admirable. It's fantastic. But she wants to know, what else can I do? Where do I need to go with this? And over the years, if I think about my background in terms of how I've helped business, I used to work with a lot of startups. So I've done this time and time again in helping brands to understand what to do, where to do it, when to do it. And albeit as Evergreen's grown, I do less of that now with the startups. But there's a lot rattling around in my brain in terms of experience. And I'm going to share that with Jo today. Now, just to kind of set the scene for you in terms of Jo's business, as I mentioned, it's an eco-friendly vegan candle company. I really like the way she does it. Check out, it's called Ralph's Orchard. I would encourage you to go and have a look when you watch or listen to this pod, because what she does, which is a little bit different, and I like this, is she repurposes, we'll get her to tell her, but she repurposes the way she makes these candles. And I think that's quite, again, every business, small or large, needs a USP, and I think that taps into that, which is great. She's been going for about 3 years. She's doing about £1,000 in revenue. It's just her, so she's got no employees in the business right now. And her marketing challenges, which I'm sure so many of you will be able to relate to, is that where do I even get started when it comes to trying to rank on Google, build my domain authority, just to gain that initial visibility, get a little bit of traction? Where do I start? How do I take those first tentative steps? She is doing a little bit of Google ads. I think she's only spending a few £100s on Google ads, and she said it's working to a point. She's making some sales, but she wants to know, well, what else can I do? How else should I be attacking this one? And then in terms of, she's got some questions as well that she wants to ask. She's doing a little bit of email marketing. She is she's already recognizing, and maybe she's doing a bit of reading up, is how can I rank on Google if I can't get backlinks, if I can't get do that sort of the link side of things, and we'll get into that. And then she's got a few other bits and pieces. In terms of where Jo's business is now, she's doing about £1,000 a month. And she said, in the next year, I'd love to maybe hit 50K. If we could hit 50K, that would be a great stepping stone to then be able to take things maybe to 100 and beyond. So that's going to be the conversation today. Slightly different to what we normally do, because this is very much startup. What are those first few things you need to do? And I'm looking forward to this. It's a little bit of a blast from the past for me. I'm going back to my roots. So let's see what we can do. Let's try and help Jo on this conversation. Jo, are you there?
Hi.
You are. Fantastic. How are you doing, Jo? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, very good. Yes, very excited for this conversation. Before, or just to kick us off, do you want to just give the listeners, the viewers, just a little whistle stop? Who are you? What's Ralph Orchard? Over to you.
Yeah, so my name is Joe. I operate out of London, and I started Ralph's Orchard about 3 years ago. So I make eco-friendly vegan candles from just natural waxes, and I do classic candles, but um, I also repurpose vintage vessels, so old goblets and ceramic plant pots and gravy jugs, etc. So yeah, as you said, that would be my USP.
I love that. Even gravy boats. You didn't mention that before. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. Even a
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That is. I love that. That is fantastic.
Teacups, like yeah, just it's just a bit different for like people looking for home decor. That's I try
Yeah.
to combine three, lighting, coziness, scent, and aesthetic into one. But also the repurpose aspect is very much because trying to be a very green company, it goes towards zero waste. So it's preventing landfill and giving old items new life again.
It's good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So today, I want to make sure that I jam pack this episode, this conversation, with as much value for you that you can take and deploy straight into the business to actually kick the business on and get you pushing that 50K revenue and beyond. So I want to get straight into these challenges. So can you just paint me a picture then in terms of what are some of the things you are doing from a marketing? So you mentioned Google Ads, you mentioned doing a little bit of Meta. Just paint me a picture of what you are doing right now to drive the sales within your business.
Yeah, so I mean, in the beginning, especially, my focus was very much on driving as much organic traffic as possible because my budget was tiny to go into paid ads, and it was doing pretty well on organic traffic. And then, of course, I don't know, a Google algorithm or something came along, and my domain authority dropped, and organic traffic sort of slowed down. I still get some, and I have good ranking for
Hmm.
some keywords, but maybe not the pricier keywords. So right now, my online strategy is very much Google Ads. I was playing around with Instagram and Facebook ads, but they weren't really driving valuable traffic. They weren't driving converting traffic my way, whereas Google was. And so now I'm focusing the majority of my budget just on Google, where it's actually seeing some good effect. Um, so yeah, I mean, really, my focus is on Google, and of course, I would love to get my organic traffic back up, but
Sure.
my domain authority, it fluctuates, but it's never really risen dramatically. And
Okay. So, right, let's take one thing at a time. Let's take one
Mhm,
of those at a time. Let's look at the organic first,
mhm.
because I'm interested. You said you were doing that. So, how long ago did you see this drop that you mentioned? This maybe it was an algorithm update, or when was that? When are we talking?
I would say late last year, so maybe around August
Okay.
2023.
And
Yeah.
so, prior to that, roughly, you don't have to give me exact numbers, but just give me an idea of how much traffic you were getting to your website, say on an average week or an average month. Are we talking tens, hundreds, thousands of visitors
On a weekly basis, I was probably getting around 1,500
on a
visitors.
weekly basis?
Uh, yes.
Okay. And do you know where on your website they were arriving into? So were these people arriving into the commercial pages, the product pages, or were they going into the blog and the journal side of the website? Where were they arriving? Did you ever look into that?
Yes. So back then it was always the homepage because that's where I was driving most of my search intent to. And I wasn't doing Google shopping ads. So now it's more product probably, but
Sure.
back
But
then it was homepage.
okay, so you were driving, so you were getting clicks to the website,
Hmm.
and did you ever look into? I mean, have you got Google Search Console set up?
Yes.
You know what that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Google's, did you ever look into the queries section on that and sort of have a look through how people are finding the website and clicking through? Did you ever take the time to look into that?
Yes, I did. But I mean, I find it all quite confusing and, it's not very clear. But
Sure.
I think I did.
Yeah, no, exactly. And these are things to just note down and then go and have a look at. Make sure if you've got it set up
Yeah.
in Google, there's 101 things in Google Search Console that you could look into. The
Hmm.
reality of it is you only need to really focus on one or two areas. So if you go into the performance section of Google Search Console,
Yeah.
you go into the search results section. You don't
Yeah.
do this now, but you would just go into the search results section
Yeah.
for your website. You'll see a graph that will show you, it will default to the last 3 months. You can change the date range to open up to 12, 16 months. And in there, you will essentially, it will show you the total number of clicks, total impressions, the average click-through rate, and the average position. And that's just at a 12-month view. That will give you an overview of just how visible the website is, how many times you're appearing in the search results, not necessarily always at the top, but how many times you're appearing,
Hmm.
and how many clicks. If you look at that over a 12-month period and you scroll down the page, you'll see a bunch of tabs. You'll see queries, pages, countries, devices, etc. The queries section, if you order that by clicks and then flip it and order by impressions, that will just give you within minutes a very quick snapshot of how people are finding the brand. So
Okay.
regardless of the traffic, the levels of traffic you're getting, it
Hmm.
will just give you insights into how people are searching, what kind of things people are going onto Google and they're searching for. And that's, once you know that, you can take those learnings and start to think about how to best optimize your website, maybe even the types of content that you need to create and so on. So it's worth
Okay.
doing that. And also what's really good about that, because you can export that, there's a button at the top right of the page where you
Hmm.
can export that data. And if you export it, what you can then do is again, you can start to slice and dice it. You can see, for example, one thing we always look at is how much of the searches we're getting are branded. So people going on looking at Ralph's Orchard, etc. And how many are people looking for vegan candles or this or that or the other? So how many people are looking for the products? And that's really, really, important to do, because it gives you, as I say, it'll give you a steer on what to do with your website. The other thing you can do in this same report is next to the queries section, there's pages. And if you click into the pages section, again, you can order by clicks, you can order by impressions, but what it will do is it will show you which pages on your website are most visible and which are getting the clicks and which are getting the impressions. And what I find is quite a useful exercise to do, and you could absolutely do this yourself, you don't need to be a technical wizard to do this, is within the pages section, if you order by impressions, you can then see which pages are getting seen or getting served the most within the search results. And in doing that, what you can then do is it'll probably be your homepage will be the top result. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you click into that,
Hmm.
you will then see all of the queries, i.e., all of the search terms that your homepage has appeared for.
Oh, very cool.
And
Okay.
then with all of that, and then what that can do is that can say, oh, okay, so lots of people are searching for vegan candles or this type of candle or this type of, that it gives you insights into how people search.
Yeah.
And that's not only useful from an organic perspective in terms of, well, how do we optimize our website and what sort of content do we need to create, but also that will give you really good insights into the sorts of keywords that people are searching that you can then use in your Google Ads.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does
I'll check
that
that
make
out.
sense? In
Yeah.
terms of, I
No,
appreciate
it
there's a few
does.
steps
Yeah.
there, but yeah, if Google Search Console is a treasure trove for small businesses to figure out, well, even if the data's small, this is how people are finding me right now. And this is therefore I can double down my efforts in terms of everything I am doing to really focus in on how people are finding me, and also take that and deploy into Google Ads as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's one thing you should absolutely be doing. Now, what else are we doing when it comes to, what have you been doing with your SEO and with in terms of improving your organic visibility? Have you been creating content? Have you optimized the website? What have you been doing to drive that organic visibility?
Yeah. So I have been optimizing all of the pages. I mean, just, trying to figure out what to do, but making sure that meta titles and descriptions are the right length and peppered with keywords. I do have a blog as well. So the blog is less product based, or
Yep.
some of the posts can be product based, but, more about how to's and, you know, tips on, I don't know, best candles for summer or
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen.
aromatherapy,
Yeah. You've got
etc. Yeah.
guides and stuff like that, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I, from that perspective, I have been trying to optimize for organic traffic and SEO.
Hmm.
My conversion rates, I think, are pretty decent. So it's really just getting that right traffic to the site.
Okay. So fine. The best way, so the best advice I can give you when it comes to optimizing your website and thinking about how, I mean, again, use Google Search Console data because that will give you insights into exactly how people search. And it's great because you haven't got to pay for a tool to do that. You don't need any, you can do it yourself. And that will give you good insights in terms of the ways people search and how, therefore, to optimize the website. The best advice I can give anyone when it comes to trying to optimize their website and knowing how best to SEO their website is put Google to one side for the moment.
Okay.
Don't try and over optimize the website and stuff loads of keywords in there and think, oh, I've got to say everything and my website's got to be all things to all people.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to optimize your website and any website is to simply think about what it is the product, in this case, the product that you provide. And actually just look at it and think, does each page on the website say what it is, and in your case, who it's for, or the purpose that it's for? So, and so for every business, it's either this is what we sell, this is what we do, and this is who we do it for, or this is what we do, this is this is what we do or what we sell, and this is the type of use case that it's for. So, for example, if we look at your homepage, I'm on the website now. So your homepage says vegan candles UK, luxury natural gifts, scented candles. So for me, all of your products are, or the majority are, candles, correct?
The majority is, yeah.
The majority. So I think you need to be very clear. So I'm just going to have to do let's have a look. So yeah, you've got lots of candle mentions littered across the website, which is good. So again, this is where I would want to use GSC to find out how do people search, because you mentioned they're eco-friendly, you mentioned they're vegan candles, then you've got home decor mentioned, then you've got self-care. So if we look at, and what you need to be is very clear to both a search engine, but crucially to users, and be consistent in this is what we do and this is our how we position it.
Okay.
So for example, vegan is mentioned on your homepage 9 times.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas if we look at eco-friendly, let's have a quick look. So eco-friendly. So eco-friendly is mentioned 5 times on the website. And then if we look at, but whereas candle is mentioned 40 odd times.
Okay.
So what I would be looking at is I would be looking at your Search Console data. I would be looking at that and seeing how do people search? Do more people search for eco-friendly? Do more people search for vegan? Is there a clear difference? And from a positioning standpoint, I would really focus in on that we are a vegan candle company or we are an eco-friendly. It may be both, but often when you try and put too many things in here, like the homepage is saying, we're eco-friendly, we're vegan, it's candles, it's also home decor, there's also this, there's also this, there's also this. And that can just get a little bit convoluted in terms of the way you're going to optimize this and what you're going to be ranked for.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because you've got the different, so I'm just going to have a look at some of the products. Let's just go in. So I'm just going to have a look. Let's have a little look here. So yeah, we've got classic candles. Okay, I'm just going to open up some of these products and have a quick look. Yeah, we just need to make sure that from a website, we're being very clear that this is, what is the positioning of this brand? Is it a eco-friendly, or are we going to focus in on vegan candles, or are we going to focus in on anything else? I think because we've got, yeah, so for example, sorry, 1 second, I'm just going to have a look. Audited in real time. Yeah, so here's a great example. So are your repurposed candles, are they vegan as well?
Yes.
Yeah, not once on that page does it mention the word vegan. So it's little things like that it's so easily done. And these products look fantastic, by the way. I'm just looking I found the gravy I love it, it's great. But do you see what I mean? That's where so this page, your repurposed candles page, for example, is optimized for repurposed candles. Now, that might be fine if people search for repurposed candles. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe there's a market for it. But what you've got is you've got one page in isolation that's talking about repurposed candles with no mention of vegan. And then you've got probably the rest of the website, including the homepage, that is very focused around eco-friendly and vegan candles with hardly any mentions of repurposed.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
just, it's then if you just think about, as you go, what I do is I would pull off I would basically get a list of all the pages on your website, all the categories. And then I would think, right, what is that? What is the elevator pitch? What is the one line that perfectly encapsulates exactly what that category of products are? And on a single product level, exactly how could, if I only had 5 words to explain what that product is or what that category is, how would I define it?
Okay.
And then write that out for every single page, for every single product, and then look back at it and make sure that, am I being consistent? Because with these really small businesses, there are so many people out there that are going to sell candles, vegan candles, this, that, and the other. So the only way you're going to get a chance at really being able to, carve out a little niche within a niche is to be consistently very, very focused in, this is exactly the USP I'm going after.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think because that will also feed in to the types of content you create. So I think, and this is what I mean, you can do so much of this yourself. You can go through your website, pull off every single URL, note down the page title, note down the meta description, note down the heading of what that page is, how am I defining that? And then just make sure that, for example, if your data shows in Google Search Console says that vegan candles, there's good volume there, and right now you're averaging page 2 or page 3, so you're not a million miles away in terms of visibility, then I would take that and go, I'm going to make sure that every page is consistently saying it's this type of vegan candle, it's that type of vegan candle, and so on.
Okay.
You can do that yourself, very easy to do, and it will just ensure that when Google or when a user comes onto the website, it's very clear, okay, I'm on a brand that sells all things vegan candles or eco-friendly or whatever the positioning piece is.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Beyond that, the way you're going to increase your domain authority, increase your visibility, is SEO can be boiled down to 3 core components. You've got to have a solid technical foundation, i.e. the way the website is set up and is optimized. What is this? Is this a Shopify website or?
It is, yeah.
It is a Shopify website. Okay, good. So Shopify is a good platform. It's come on leaps and bounds over recent years. It's now a standard, so that's really good. You've got lots of flexibility in terms of what you can do, how you can work with this platform, and it gives you all of the SEO options I'd want you to have. You've got with Shopify pretty much out of the box. So the 3 components for improving your domain authority, increasing your overall visibility, is solid technical foundation, which do what I've said in terms of go through, make sure you're consistent. That's the first thing. Second part is your content. Third part is your links. They're really the solid tech, content, and then links. They're the 3 components that any brand needs to get a foothold online and to start to increase your visibility and gain some traction online. Now, you mentioned in one of your questions, the links side of things is obviously, how can you do that without getting links? I appreciate links I've got some ideas, but is something of a specialist skill, often requires external support. So your content, what are you doing on that?
Content for links, sorry, or
No. So your content, your content that you're creating for your blog, what content are you putting on the website right now?
Oh, so I try to make it as much like around candles and aromatherapy as possible.
Yeah.
So just attracting that right kind of shopper, really. So yeah, I mean, I just tried to research keywords, try to find out, like, ask the public, I think it's called,
Yeah. Okay.
just to find out what it is that people are actually after, so that I can use that to create not just content but product as well. I mean, it's part of
Sure.
my product
Sure.
development. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just give me an idea. How frequently are you posting?
Oh, not very frequently. I think I put out like two last week, but that was a bit of a, rush of productivity for me. I usually,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'd say like once every 2 months, maybe, like
Okay.
just not
Okay.
very, yeah.
So look, I think the key thing, because what you're doing is a classic symptom of what I see brands doing all the time, small businesses. And I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be brutally honest. What you're doing won't work,
Okay.
because what you're doing is you're choosing topics randomly. And then you're pushing out. So if I look at some of the most recent ones, you've got a gift guide. I like the story behind the artist. That's nice. That's a nice idea. You've got guides to, as you say, you've got a little bit of a spray and pray approach here when it comes to content. So lots of different topics, and I see it all the time. So and I'm going to give you some ideas on how to avoid this. But you've got lots of different ideas. Are candles safe? Then you've got a guide to choosing candle scents. Then you've got a gift guide. Then you're talking about how to, there's some seasonality posts in there. Then you've got one about talking about sustainability. Then you've got, there's a real mix here.
Mhm.
So from Google's standpoint, it's like, well, okay, what am I going to do with this? And for most of the posts, there's not really a commercial intent behind it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But there is no what are we trying to achieve with the blog? Because in the same way as with the website itself, we need to be very, very clear in terms of this is what we are trying to this is our positioning, our niche within a niche. We're going to carve out, for you to make the first 50, 100, quarter of a million sales, you need to be so incredibly focused in terms of carving out your niche within a niche within a niche to do that. And right now you're way too broad and it's too loose, and the content is doing the same thing.
Okay.
So what you need to do with the content is, again, I would do this once you've done the SEO, the stuff that we've just discussed in terms of the optimize the website. Once
Okay.
you are really clear, I'm going to use the vegan as let's assume that is where we've gone, right? Vegan candles, that is where we're gonna really focus. Then what you need to do is go and do some desk research. Get onto Google and go and just search for anything and everything vegan candles. So
Mhm.
I would start by vegan candle guides, vegan candle this, like look in the news feed, look in the search results feed, do the thing where you put in vegan candles and then you put a space bar in your cursor and then you see what Google is prompting you to search for.
Yeah.
Go and do a couple of hours worth of research on all things vegan candles. Find the best content that you can that's talking about vegan candles.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's not a sector I would know, but go and find as much as many of good guides, resources, roundup, white papers, all different sorts of stuff that you can on vegan candles. Then categorize that. This is a very simple exercise. You can do this yourself. Go and then categorize it and think of all of the guides and the resources I found. What is the overarching themes and topics and how can I group that content? And then once you group the content, you will start to draw. What we do is draw like a bit of a spidergram, so you can start to map out and go, okay, there's a lot of them that are talking about use cases. There's a lot of guides and posts that are talking about, I don't know, the sustainability side of it, or the this or the that. Or you'll find themes, and it will make more sense to you because this is your industry. But you'll find themes and topics. Then once you've nailed down those 4, 5, 6 core themes,
Mhm.
I would use each of those, and I would then have a think about how can you create the best guide or resource or whatever it might look like, and add the most value on that topic. Because what you need to do is, when you've found what Google says is this is the best I've got right now,
Mhm.
you need to do one of two things. Either look at that and think, I can improve that. I can do better than that. I can create something more informative, more useful, more practical, more up to date. If you can confidently look at it and go, that's a great article or a great, whatever it might be, but I love that topic. I know that I'm an expert at this stuff. I can create something bigger, better, more practical, more useful, whatever. then that's where you start and you start creating it. Or if you look at something and once you've grouped the topics together, you look at everything and you go, God, blimey, that's really good. There's some really good stuff there. I can't beat that. Like they've really, whoever it is, maybe it's a competitor, maybe it's an industry title. They've really nailed that, and they really have covered everything. I can't do better than that. If that is the case, then what you need to do is then think, well, how do I need to find a topic that's related. So like a shoulder topic. So I need to look at that as a core and go, I can't beat that, but what can I do off the side of it that's related, but not in direct competition to it? And does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have that core, I think it's having those core topics that makes your ability to what it does, it focuses the mind, Joe. And that's really what you've got to do here, because I would argue, looking at these posts, how many of them tie back to your core product and the message you're trying to convey, and ultimately the product you're trying to sell. They just don't. It's very much with choosing topics almost just randomly, and that inconsistency means you're going to be producing content, but you're not going to be seeing any results from it. I'll give you some examples of things where we've had to educate our clients over many, many years now. Is we've had clients that would be selling a product and they would be doing very similar to this. They would be creating guide after guide after guide, and they'd never see any traction from it. Or they'd see, or what would often happen with this, if you do this consistently, what you might see, and you've probably already seen it in your data, is you might get the odd post that would start to perform really well. And you think, this is great. It's lifting all my numbers. I'm seeing more traffic to the website. But again, when you look at Google Search Console, you see that the data you're actually getting in terms of how people are finding the website, they are landing on the website, but it's not relevant.
Yeah.
And therefore there's no buying intent. It doesn't really tie back to the product you're trying to market. And so it's false traffic. It's falsely inflating the numbers. And that again gives a perception of, well, we're getting 10,000 visitors to our month and we're not making any sales. We look at the data and we go, yeah, but it's because 8,000 of those are coming into blog posts that you wrote that are completely irrelevant. There's no commercial intent. There's no tie back to the thing you're trying to market and sell. Therefore, we need to discount that. And actually, you're only getting 2,000 people on your website every month. And therefore, the number of sales you are making are proportion to that. Whereas if you do it this way around, if you really focus in on the core themes and topics and then say, how can I create the best guide? I don't care if it takes you 3 months to create one guide. That will serve you far better than a kind of a spray and pray approach.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So please, if you do that, it take a little bit longer, but then create something, because what you can do I'm a massive, fan of if we're going to create a guide, a resource, what you want to then do is, if you know that the topic, so for example, if we choose your, the are candles safe, for example. Now that may be a question that people ask, but if I'm going onto Google looking, well, are candles safe? In no way, it's a real hop, skip, and a jump to get from that to, I'm now interested in buying some vegan, eco-friendly candles.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's where we need to just bring it back and actually think, well, how can I create, what are the questions people might ask around vegan candles? How can I genuinely add value, showcase that I'm an expertise? I think you weave in your story and that these are handmade and I'm making these on my kitchen table because, that people love that. And I think that is an important part of the narrative. So I would definitely be weaving that in. But if you focus in on a core topic and you really go to town and you create something that you can look at and be really proud of and go, do you know what? Anyone that's interested in vegan candles, I've added loads of value. I've really helped educate what, why, how, when, who, where, all of that good stuff. Once you've done that, what you can then do is you can then take that guide, not only put it on your website, but actually you can take snippets of that and suddenly that can feed into your socials. It can feed in, maybe even to some of the ads that we're going to come on to. But you can do so much more with it. You can put it out on your Instagrams and all of your social platforms, and you're driving people to it because it backs up the narrative of what you're selling, you're doing as a brand. It genuinely adds value for anyone that actually goes to visit it. And within that, because it's bang on topic, it's so easy for you to weave in and here's my product here and here's my product there.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
That is 100% where it's what we've done for years in advising clients, is saying, look, just focus. Don't be a busy fool trying to create everything. Just, yeah, how can you add the most value? You're selling these products and clearly you're making them yourself. So you clearly love them, and you're going to have a lot of knowledge that could be super valuable to anyone that might be thinking, oh, vegan, I want some vegan cans, or I'm looking into it, I'm considering them, or whatever, or it's very eco-conscious, or that, loves the sustainability piece. It's those key triggers that I'd be tapping into.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah? Good. So that's the thing. So your SEO, don't overcomplicate it. Just think, does each page clearly and consistently say what it is and who it's for and its purpose? Your content, stop doing all of the a mix of everything, focusing on identify 2 or 3 for core themes and topics, build them out from there. Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it. Google Ads, your ads. Let's talk about that. So what kind of ads are you running? What are we spending? What does that look like right now?
So I'm running 3. I think I have like about five or six different campaigns running at the moment. 3 of them are shopping campaigns. One is a search campaign, and one is a brand awareness and display campaign. For the search and brand awareness, the budget is super tiny, and all of my efforts go into the shopping campaigns because over time, that's where I've seen the real ROI and return, like good traffic coming to my site and actually spending.
Yep.
So I'm right now spending in the region of around £400 a month.
Okay.
So a drop in the water, tiny,
Sure. No,
difficult
yeah.
to compete. But I mean that's up from what I was spending a year ago, which was £100 a month.
There you go. Yeah. And what
And
kind of
yeah,
return are you making on that? So we're spending 400 on an average month, and what are we making back?
From Google Ads itself, I would say on a monthly basis now. Again, I've seen a good uptick in traction since probably I applied for this
Okay.
podcast. So it's just from Google Ads, probably in the region of 1,300.
Okay, amazing. So you're
Um,
getting a good 3 times return on that. So you're putting £1 in, you're getting roughly £3 just over
yeah,
back out,
yeah,
give or
yeah.
take.
It's good. I mean, again, this wasn't the case a year ago. I mean, I was spending
Sure.
100 and not necessarily getting 100 back.
And you're doing your ads yourselves, right?
Yes, yeah.
Amazing. Just remind me which campaign types you're running. You're running brand awareness, which is a search
Yeah.
campaign.
Brand awareness. Yeah. So that's sort of I thought of it as I think that's more of a retargeting.
Okay, so you're running retarget. Okay, and so
Yeah.
have you created some visual ads then for your retargeting, or have you used Google's own to do that?
No, I've created my own. No, I have not. I've just uploaded assets. I'm sorry.
No, no,
I don't
no.
completely know what I'm talking about here.
No,
Could
no,
I?
no, no, no. Hey, you know more than most, so
Okay.
that's good. So you've got those. Okay, so you've uploaded all your assets and then let Google do its thing, but from a
Yes.
retargeting standpoint. So just to check on that, then are you uploading? Have you got the retargeting tag on your website, so you know that anyone that visits the website, they're going to be retargeted? Is that you've done that with the retargeting tag? Have you?
Sorry. Do you mean like the UTM?
So your UTM's is gonna track, but yeah, the is gonna track so you can see where the users are coming from. Have you used the UTM's?
Yes. Yeah. So I
Okay,
have
amazing.
UTMs on all my
And
ads.
the retargeting tag in itself, the Google retargeting tag, have you used that?
No, I don't know what that
Okay.
is. So I'm
Are you?
assuming
No,
no.
that's fine. Have you done the? Are you uploading? Have you got a customer list? Have you fed that into the Google Ads?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, good. So I'll follow. I'll send you a couple of bits afterwards to double check that we've got everything set up. Because retargeting, great. Love the fact that you're doing that. Think it can be very powerful. And the great thing is it can be done on a very small budget to just keep the brand top of mind. Just want to double check based on. I'm not sure how you've set it up. So very happy to help you do that. We can do that after episode if you want me to. Just to give it a quick look over, make sure make sure that is set up correctly.
Thank you.
So we've got the brand awareness,
Hmm.
and then we're running shopping. Yeah.
And then I have a search one as well. So that one I suppose is just the PPC on Google search
Yep,
results.
yep, 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 yep.
Yeah, and then but again, search and brand awareness, very, very, very tiny portion of budget allocated. All of it goes to the three shopping ads, the
So you're running
Performance
three
Max.
shopping,
Yeah,
is it Performance Max or Standard Shopping?
it's Performance Max.
Okay, interesting. Are you running any Standard Shopping? Is it all Performance Max?
No, it's I was running a standard shopping, but I wasn't seeing anything from it, so I turned it off and just again
Okay,
put all the
fine.
budget back into.
So we're running free Performance Max, fine. So which is good. I mean, the fact you've set that up and you're getting a return. If you're getting a 3 times return, that's great. Well done, you. I think that's fantastic. So a couple of questions. Have you, and so in terms of the Performance Max campaigns, have you uploaded all, have you uploaded lots of assets and given Google lots to play with? Because with Performance Max, it wants lots of assets, lots of headlines, lots of images. So have you uploaded a good variety?
I think so. I think I used a lot of Google's, suggestions. Google now suggests headlines if you type in some
Sure,
keywords.
sure, sure.
But I think I could probably do better on that because it's so time consuming and I'm time poor. So,
Sure, sure.
I think I
Spinning all
probably
the
need
plates. I
to,
know what it's like. You spin
yeah.
all the plates. Yeah, no, no. So I think so with a budget of a few £100s,
Hmm.
you're obviously spreading that quite thin.
Yeah.
If you've got multiple campaigns running, what's the reason we've got three Performance Max campaigns
Yeah,
running?
this is a good question. In hindsight, I don't know. I think I tried different things with each of them, and unfortunately, I can't remember how I chose to
When you say
differentiate
different
them.
things, can you remember what you were trying to achieve or
No,
what
do you
you?
know, I think one of them I started and it was working fine, but then one of them was through the Shopify platform and I was like, "Oh, well, if Shopify, I don't know if Shopify has that link with Google, which I know anyway it does." So I just launched another one to see where that went, and I don't honestly know what the difference is between. I know that one is performing outperforming the other two,
Sure.
but
I
I
mean,
don't know.
again, without seeing it, it may on that level of budget, I would absolutely be consolidating.
Okay.
Performance Max is a conversion hungry, type of ad campaign.
Yeah.
So, and you understand what Performance Max is and how it works, right? Do you understand? Do you
Kind
kind of?
of. I think
Yeah.
Google
So
just basically says, "We know what we're doing, so let us run with it."
to be fair, that's a pretty good synopsis. But no, look, Performance Max, in its simplest terms, takes Google's entire inventory of places where it can show your ads, puts it into one bucket, and kind of does exactly that. Just sort of says, give us your objective, upload a bunch of assets, set some audience signals, and then we'll go away and do what we do. Kind of is what Google, and that's great. It does give Google pretty much complete autonomy to run your ads. If
Mhm,
it's working, amazing. If you're putting a pound in and you're getting £3 back out, great. That's good as long as that works for your business. Some businesses, getting a 3 times wouldn't work, and it would have to be a 4 or a 5 or
mhm,
beyond. But if you can if your margin allows, and at this stage where you are in your business journey, I'm sure that will, because you're doing it on the kitchen table. As you grow, you're probably going to find you need, with increasing costs, you're going to need to get that to a 3.5, a 4, a 4.5,
mhm,
and so on.
mhm.
But right now, to get to that first 50, 100K turnover, if that works, to put a pound in, get £3 out, if your margin allows for that, great, keep doing it. I would absolutely consolidate those three campaigns, because frankly, you'll be able to get more impressions, more clicks, and therefore more conversions without spreading across three campaigns. It makes, and
Okay.
even if there were three different objectives, I would still be advocating right now, until you get that budget to north of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 in terms of spend,
Yeah.
I would be keeping it as few campaigns as possible, to just
Okay.
avoid you having to spread yourself too thin. So I would be, in terms of account, again, this is sort of doing it blind because I haven't seen the account, but one Performance Max. The retargeting makes a lot of sense. Just double checking that is set up correctly, and we are feeding in the right data and capturing all of data. And again, if well, afterwards, I'll ping you an email. We can get access, and I'll just double check that you have got all of that set up. It'll take one of my guys 10 minutes to just check that.
Okay.
And then again, having a search campaign, interesting, but I think that's a good thing to have. It would just depend how it's set up. Now,
Okay.
the other thing I want to ask is there any kind of geography to your business? You're obviously based in London. Do you
Mhm.
see most of your sales are coming locally, say within London, or is it a real mix? Because that's the other thing to be mindful of this is with such a small budget,
Mhm.
spreading yourself across. Are you targeting the whole of the UK right now?
Yes, so and I'm not my marketing effort. I ship internationally, but I don't target internationally
Sure,
marketing
sure.
wise. I am for Google Ads, etc. It is UK based. The
Yep.
majority of my customers are in London, but I have a large number in Scotland and Wales as well. Well, all over the UK, really.
Okay.
Very few in Northern Ireland, but I do see sales from there as well. So, but yeah, I guess predominantly London, but I want to say 35% London. So,
Okay, so it's not because so there's lots of things. So the things when you've got a really small budget, and it's those marginal gains where you think, can I make efficiencies in terms of to max? So the key things to think about, and some of them might apply, some of them might not. One is locations. If is there, you can look at your data and you say, well, actually, because you can actually see this stuff, and you can within your accounts, you'll be able to see, okay, how is is all of my sales, or the vast majority of my sales, coming from London? Okay, if we knew that, then that great. The other things are so ad schedules. So if you can set up an ad schedule to see when people are buying most frequently. So what
okay.
I mean by an ad schedule is different days of the week, different times of the day. You can in the settings you can set an ad schedule that initially you still run your ads. If you are, I'm assuming you are 24/7, but
Hmm.
what you can do is you can put an ad schedule in place to say, just track and monitor the different days of the week. Maybe you put the hours of the day into different blocks. So you might do a midnight to 6 a.m. and you turn that off because no one's going to be, you don't want to be spending money on ads at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
might do a 6 a.m. to 12 midday, midday to 6 p.m. and so on. Just by setting that up into 4 6-hour blocks across a day and running that 7 days a week, you can do that. It's a 5-minute job in your settings. You let that run for a few weeks. What you might not, but what you might start to see is actually, I only make sales in an afternoon, or I only make sales in an evening. Once you know that, you can either get rid of the other times, or you can increase your budget. So you can increase your bid adjustment to say, most of my sales come in the evenings. Therefore, I want to spend a little bit more I want to lean my budget more towards that to that area.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
all done in the settings. There's a few options like that you can do that just will enhance the return you're getting by leaning
yeah,
into how people when people are buying and so on. So does that make sense? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great.
Audiences. Are you doing anything with your Performance Max? Have you set up your audience signals? Do you know what I'm talking about when I talk about audience signals and stuff like this?
Yeah, I think I know it's important, and I think I've tried, but I think sort of looked at it, tried, and then gave up quite quickly. I found it.
In your Performance Max campaigns, are you
Yeah.
running just a single asset group, and sort of or have you got multiples in there?
I think I might have two, ad group one and two, I think. But that could also be for for one of my other
Okay, yeah, no,
campaigns.
that's fine, that's fine. Because I think the audience signals. So when it comes to Performance Max, I think definitely consolidate three into one. When it comes to
Okay.
the Performance Max, I
Hmm.
think it's Performance Max is a little bit of a black box. So you get some options, but you don't get everything.
Yeah.
So in terms of the flexibility and the visibility into exactly what and why and where and how. So,
Okay.
a couple of the key things to think about when it comes to Performance Max. One is making sure that you feed it as many assets as you can. So, lots of headlines, lots of descriptions, lots of images. If you've got any video content, like just really feeding the algorithm as much as you can is great, because Google will then take all of that and it will sort of go, and it will then has more options to, I like this one, I don't like this one, and so on. So that's great. The other really important thing with Performance Max is to make sure that your audience signals are set up. So if you, and again, it's not rocket science, this stuff. If you just, as you say, take the time to go through it, you can have
Yeah.
a look and make sure that you've chosen your search themes. Make sure that all of those, literally those signals in terms of the type of customer, how they're searching, who they are, where they are, all of those things, you just take the time to fill those in as best as you can. And don't go too, it's okay to go a little bit broader with this in terms of
Okay.
settings. So if you're not sure, leave it broader. Don't go too tight. Otherwise, you can restrict the campaign's performance.
Okay.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
couple of other things just to quickly go through is One is I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? One is the shopping feed. So the products that you're feeding in from Shopify,
Hmm.
how many different SKUs have you got? How many different products?
Um, I think I have about, oh, that's a good question. I want to say around 50 products, but a lot of them have like child schools. So, uh,
Okay. So, and are all of those products being fed into the Performance Max campaigns right now? Is it
yes, I
like
believe
one
so.
feed with all products?
Yes, yeah.
Have you had a look at which of those products are the ones that are selling and crucially, which are the ones that are just not selling?
No.
Do that, because
Okay.
what you can do if you looked at your Shopify data
Yeah.
and sort of looked at it the last 12 months, what you'll probably identify is some products that consistently are like your best sellers, and then there'll be others that you just never sell. What you want to do
Okay.
is identify, particularly with such a small budget, identify your best sellers,
Hmm.
cull the rest in your feed.
Okay.
Because then again, if you think about what you're doing, is you're saying, look, I've got the limited budget I have got. I only want to show my best selling products
Yeah.
because therefore you're going to get the best possible return. So these are all just little marginal gains you can do that will just increase. That might drive that ROAS, that return on investment from 3. Maybe if we can get it from a 3 to a 4, how much better is that for the business? If we can put £1 in and get £4 back out rather than 3,
Hmm.
that has a huge impact on what we can do and how fast we can grow the brand.
Okay.
So yeah, to look at those products and then just work out the best 10, 20, whatever, and then just you can exclude the rest of them essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
The other thing, like thinking about the shopping feed, is once you've done the SEO bit that we covered earlier on the call, once you've gone through and you've made sure that the page titles are very consistently saying what they are in your shopping feed, make sure if you export the shopping feed, have a look how the product titles are coming through, because how they export in your data is how they will appear in the shopping feed. So you're feeding your products from Shopify into Merchant Center. From Merchant Center, it's going through into Google Ads, and then they're showing as part of your Performance Max campaign. What you want to make sure of is that your products are saying very clearly what the product is, so that when the shopping ad shows in the search results, it very clearly, for example, says this is this is a vegan candle or an eco-friendly vegan candle, and you'd be amazed the amount of times people assume that's set up correctly, but actually it isn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So just
Yeah.
and a great here's another tip for you that you could do is once you know that in terms of, right, this is the consistent theming and the way I'm going to position all of my product. Go onto Google, look in the shopping feed, and look at the other bywords and the other triggers that your competitors are using. So they might be. So for example, some of our clients, we'll see the color is being used very frequently, or the type, or the use case, or a lot of our clients are the seasonality is key. So we'll see a lot of seasonal terms being used. And what you can do is you can then update within the shopping feed. You can update those product titles to just be as descriptive as possible to capture exactly how people are searching.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the meta titles, is it?
it's not it's it's the product titles. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
but the product titles themselves. So let me pull up one of the things. These are just all little things that can just really move the needle in terms of getting a return. So let's have a look. If
Yeah.
I go
Great.
into the, let's have a look. I'll go into the. Um, I'm just going to go to the. Well, I found one of the products here. So I've just found the jasmine silver candle, the orchard fragrance. So this one, for example, so we've got a lidded silver candle, and then you've got jasmine, orchard, etc. So again, what from a shopping feed perspective is how are people going? The thing to think about is how are people going to be searching? Does anyone search for a lidded silver candle? Because if do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
yeah, because if they're not, and if that's not descriptive of how, so it's just sometimes it's actually just about going. This is a vegan. You flip the title around. So you might put this is this type of candle or that type of candle, and then the more specific, the nuanced bit, almost the branded bit comes secondary, because then
Okay.
from the way the product shows in the search results, from the way it shows in the shopping results, you're not leaning in to something that people don't. Because within the Google shopping ads, you're only going to see the first few characters, the first portion. So if I see this, if I'm looking for a vegan candle, and all I see is lidded silver, this, that, and the other, that might not necessarily resonate straight away with me that I know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's thinking about these little things and actually just taking the time to go through them and go, okay, well, actually, is that exactly what how I want my product to be perceived and how it to be seen in the search results?
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Little no, there's a lot, giving you lots to think about, aren't I? Lots to. These are all just little things that, again, it's you carve out the time, and you can just then start to make the difference. And this is what will drive you. You'll get that return, and then once you're getting consistently a 3.5, 4 times return and beyond, you can then think, well, I can now take the budget to 600, 800, 1,000, get that return, and before you know it, you're well on your way to hitting that 50K and beyond target for the end of the year.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, amazing. All right, well, hopefully that's been useful.
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions you asked at the thing. Do you remember what they are? Do you want me to read them out?
Yeah. Please read them out. I can.
Yeah, good. So the first one you said was, I think we've kind of covered them, but it's how to grow the organic presence without links. So that's good. So on that, links are an important ranking factor. Google have said, they're like a top 3 ranking factor. So links are important.
Mm-hmm.
But with the key thing to remember with links is you don't want to force it. And I always say to brands, particularly small brands, is look, in an ideal world, yes, you'd be out there and you'd be doing your own PR and you'd be doing all this good stuff. But if that's not realistic for a startup, for a small business, then the best way to optimize your website and to market your website online is to do so as if Google didn't exist.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because this is a really, really important point, Joe, to think about it is the fact that you've asked that question and that you're thinking about backlinks and links, you're not thinking you need those for your customer. You are thinking you need those purely to appease Google. Yeah.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
thinking, I need links because that will help my visibility because Google wants me to have links.
Yeah.
The reality of it is Google wants your website, like it wants any website, to not just be a shop window, but to be an information resource.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It wants your website to genuinely serve value, help people. You can showcase your product and say, look, I create these products. This is my expertise. This is my passion. This is why I do it, how I do it, where I do it, all of that good stuff. That's the goal that Google wants. And so in doing what we've said in terms of being consistent with the way you optimize your website, and in turning your blog from being a spray and pray, I'm going to write whatever comes to mind, into I'm going to turn my website into, or my blog into, a hub of amazing content, best on the web content that is very, very, very focused and very niche on a very specific topic. And I'm going to create the best content that you can find on the internet about vegan candles, or even a niche within vegan candles. Google will love you for it. And Google will increase your visibility, right?
Okay.
Because if you do that consistently, and what you will find when you do that is you will build notoriety, you'll build authority. And a funny thing happens when you do that, Joe. You start to get links.
Yeah.
And it honestly, the amount of businesses I've been able to transform over the years, the amount of brands that I've told to just say, look, whatever it is that your passion, that you do, just forget the Google. Stop trying to optimize and worry about Google. Don't worry about that. Just think about, how can I genuinely add the most value to my target customer, and how can I really help and educate them? In your case, it's a combination. You want to help them, you want to educate them, you want to inspire them, you want to really get them excited about, I can, do my bit for the planet. I can, I like this ornate kind of, the quirky sort of look, and the fact that it's a bit different, and you can have your scented candles in a graveyard. You like that, so you want to inspire them. But you need to educate them as well. And you need to turn your website from not just being a shop window, but actually a useful information resource. When you do that, and you do it in a very focused and consistent way, you wait and see what happens. It's transformative.
Yeah.
And the amount of brands that we've done that for over the years has been incredible. And a lot of them, as I say, smaller brands, that they do start right now, and then you do it with the consistency, it has a compounding effect. So don't
Okay.
worry about links. Don't worry about Google. Start thinking about how can I add the most value to my target customer, and the rest really will fall into place.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad you do. It's good. This is great. I could talk to you all day about this stuff. So the second question you asked was how to get the maximum performance from Google Ads on a low budget. I think we've kind of covered a lot of that. The things for everything from just to consolidate those performance max campaigns, look at your ad schedules, look at, make those shopping feed adjustments so that it's really clear what each product is really saying to the target customer, because you only get that, a few seconds to make that good first impression. Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are
Okay.
those are things there.
Yeah.
The last question you asked was on improving your website for Crow, which for those that don't know, Crow is conversion rate optimization. Again, there is no silver bullet with this. Shopify out of the box is a good platform. It's
Mhm.
very intuitive. It's very easy to use. Things are easy to find, which is good. So that's good. The fact that you're on Shopify, ticks some boxes. I think, again, when it comes to conversion rate optimization, you can get quite technical and you can use your data. So you can go into your Google Analytics, you use Google Analytics 4, do you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go into that and you can have a look at how people are engaging with the website, which pages are they visiting, which pages are they dropping off at, and so on. So you can do the technical piece, and that requires a little bit of know-how and where to look and what to look for. That can be done. It's a little bit out of the scope of what we're going to cover on this call,
Okay.
but that is a piece of work that can be done, of course.
Mhm.
But if you're only getting a relatively modest amount of traffic, there might be some glaring things in there. We go, wait, there's a major problem, and you obviously want to check that there is no problems with your the checkout process, and that there aren't any clear drop-off pages where you've got real bottlenecks on the website. And you can,
Okay.
again, you can look into that within Google Analytics, look at just the engagement section to see how people are navigating and what they're doing. But the overarching thing, assuming there's no fundamentals that are blocked, and if you're making sales and you can see the traffic and you can see sort of the basics are in place, the key thing I say to small businesses, particularly if you're under 1 million in terms of sales, is Crow really gets important when you're doing over 1 million. That's where it really starts, because you're getting the volume of sales that it becomes, okay, if I make a little change here, I can really see that.
Okay.
When you're only doing a couple 100,000 or less, I think the best advice I can give when it comes to Crow is, again, think through the eyes of your target customer.
Yeah.
So go onto your website, and also maybe get friends, family, people, that get them to go onto your website and set them a task. Can they find a specific product? How many clicks does it take them to go from homepage to checkout? So just you yourself and ask, almost non-techie kind of friends and family that aren't particularly clued up on this stuff, that just go on a website. How easy is it to buy a product? Don't have to buy it, but add to
Yeah.
basket, go through that process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you yourself, not enough business owners do this, is we're so used to our own website, but actually if you go onto it and look at it through the eyes of your customer, and actually, are there any bottlenecks? Is it easy to find the products? Is the site easy to navigate? Can I add something to basket nice and simply? And again, I'm fairly confident a lot of this will be fine, because you're on Shopify, which is good. The key things: don't make it hard for people to find things. So don't bury your products. You want to make sure that your products are easily accessible within 2 clicks. So every
Okay.
product on your website, you should be able to find within 2 clicks for a
Okay.
small business website. If anything's buried under, parent and then child and grandchild, that's going to be over. First, a website your size, that's going to be overcomplicated.
Okay.
So I can't imagine there's going to be too much. I mean, I would check the fundamentals, make sure they're in place. But to be honest, I would focus, if I were you, more of my time on looking at GSC in terms of that, how people, and really nailing down and going, right, Ralph's Orchard is going to really pigeonhole itself in exactly this area. I'm then going to make sure I'm absolutely consistent across the way my website is optimized, every product, every page, every category of product. I'm then going to take that core theme and topic. I'm going to go and do a 2 or 3 hours worth of desk research. And I'm going to look at all my competitors. I'm going to look at the wider, what's on the internet. I'm going to look at the other blogs, other websites, other industry sites. I'm going to find the best content across the topic that I'm going to focus my business in on. And then off the back of that, I'm going to spidergram out the subtopics off that core theme. So I get some sort of topics and some topics and themes. Then I'm going to come up with a content strategy. Go, how do I create the best content, the most helpful, valuable content on each of those topics? I'm going to then write those. And at the same time, I would be spending my time looking at what we said on the Google Ads, consolidating those performance max, and then looking at the shopping feed and how I can better optimize that, putting in an ad schedule to see if it does tell you anything. And then double checking the retargeting. And then we haven't even got into the meta, but another thing I would definitely be doing is, in the same way you're retargeting on Google, I would be retargeting on Meta as well.
Okay.
Because if it takes a little bit of a setup, and again, there's lots of guides online, or one of my team can help you do it, but get retargeting set up on Meta. Because if you think Google's got search intent, so I'm looking for vegan candles. If you've then been on the website, 97, 98% of people are not going to buy it in that first instance. So what you want to do, in the same way as you're keeping your brand top of mind with Google, Meta is an amazing way of doing that as well. Because I might be on Google searching 1 minute, and then I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and then I see your ad pop up, and I think, oh yeah, I liked Ralph Orchard, I want to go and buy one of their candles. It's a great way of keeping the brand top of mind. So if you do nothing else, just put a really small proportion of budget, 50 quid a month, into retargeting, and just let that tick along. That would be money well spent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we've covered a lot there. How have you found it useful?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have so many notes. So much.
Good. Well, you've made notes, but you'll also be able to listen and watch this back. So I hope you've found it useful. We've covered a lot of ground there. The good thing is, I think look, so many small businesses, it's very easy to overcomplicate this stuff. Just keep it simple. There's a great phrase we use: keep it simple, stupid. Like I love that as a sentiment of just like, keep it simple, focus in on what you need to do. There is absolutely no reasons why you shouldn't be able to get this doing 50, 100, couple of 100K by being very, very focused. Absolutely no reason at all.
Okay, exciting. Thank you.
Good stuff. Joe, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. Keep an eye on, all the content that we're pushing out, because on our YouTube channel, we're putting out loads of, not just the pod, but we've got all of our tea talks and lots of content where super actionable, valuable stuff where we kind of walk you through how to do this, and a lot of similar sort of themes and topics for what we've covered today. I'm glad you found it useful. I wish you all the success with it. Do me a favor, when you have created your first all-encompassing guide that really just sings to your customer, can you send it to me? Because I really want to see it. I'm going to give you a shout out on LinkedIn when you do that. I really want to see the first one when you've come up with your positioning, and then you really nail down the first guide. Send it to me. I want to have a look at it.
Okay, brilliant. I will do. Thank you.
Joe, thank you so much for being on. Really enjoyed having you. Best of luck with the business, and we'll speak soon, yeah?
Yeah, super. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks so much. Take care, Joe. All the best.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Well, there you go. Hopefully you have equally found that really useful. It's, startup business is tough. It can be really hard when you're trying to start out, because seemingly there's so many things you've got to do. Everything's a priority. You're not also just trying to market when you're a small business. You're trying to run the business. I mean, Joe's quite literally making the product, and she's trying to take it to market. So hopefully in that conversation, it's just been able to focus in her mind on not just what she should be doing, but crucially how she should be doing it. I think she should definitely be able to get to that first 50, 100K by implementing some of that stuff. And I wish her all the best and the luck. I hope you too have found this useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. As I say, it's not every day that we have sort of startups and really small micro businesses on, but I wanted to do this one. I wanted to help Joe on her way. And if you haven't already, do go and check out Ralph's Orchard and see if you fancy one of her candles, because they are a bit unique. You're not going to find what she's doing in on the high street. So check that out, and I will see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.